In this video, I'm going to teach my exact small business SEO process. If you stay to the end of the video, you'll get the exact system that I use to rank websites at the top of Google and all the actionable tactics you'll be able to take and implement into your own business to improve your organic traffic and ultimately leads and revenue and make SEO a viable channel for you. So to start, why SEO can be important for small businesses. The first thing to think about before we get into the benefits is determining if SEO is the right fit for your business. It's not a fit for every business. Some of the criteria I like to look at and think about are more conceptually about, do you think customers or potential customers actually go to Google to find your services? If you're in a local industry, like a plumber or electrician or home services, typically users are going to go to Google and type in that they need an electrician near me or in their city. And ultimately, Google is going to be one of the main ways they find a customer. So SEO can be extremely valuable for those types of businesses. If you're a business where SEO may not be the only way somebody finds out about your services, it still can be viable, but you'll have to monitor your budget and blend your budget into those other sources of traffic and sources of leads. So really the first step is to determine, are you in an industry where Google is a primary way that customers are going to find you? If so, SEO should really be at the top of your list. If not, it doesn't necessarily mean you can't do SEO, but you can't spend unlimited budget and you won't have necessarily a high return by spending more on SEO. So you'll have to be more cost effective and do things in a way where you're going to see a return while also having enough money to invest in other channels that may be a better fit. So typically local industries work really well for SEO. One of the ways you can think about if if just SEO is right for you, if we go to Google local service ads. So if we do, let's do actually local services ads. So what this is going to do is this is going to show us an ad format from Google. So local service ads. This is a pay per lead ad format. Now we're talking about SEO today, but why I like this page here from Google is Google's listed out all of the industries that they offer this ad format to. These industries tend to work very well for SEO. Google's even created this new ad format specifically for these businesses on a pay-per-lead model because Google knows a lot of leads come from these industries. So if you see your business type, and you could click on the categories here, so you'll see attorneys are a big category, real estate, tax lawyers. There's some health industries and medical industries like doctors, dentists, dermatologists. So this is really a great tool to figure out potentially what are the best industries to do SEO in. Now it's not perfect, but this is just a quick way to gauge if SEO may be one of the main ways that customers find out about you. I always just like to use your own intuition on that and actually potentially talk to customers or just use your own knowledge on how you would go about finding a provider like you. So with that out of the way, assuming SEO is the right fit for you, some of the things that it provides that other marketing channels don't. The first one is targeted traffic. And what I mean by that is users are actively searching on Google for keywords related to what you offer. So it's one of the few marketing channels where people are telling you that they want your services or they want to know more. On other types of marketing, like traditional marketing, like TV or radio or digital marketing on social media, you're interrupting someone as they're doing something else to show them your ad or to show them your brand. And you're trying to get them to stop what they're doing to pay attention to you. Through SEO, users are actively researching what you offer. So it's one of the few marketing channels where that intent to purchase can be extremely high if you're targeting the right keywords. It should be, depending on your industry, one of your best sources of leads. It's very scalable as well because you don't have to pay per click. The results you get can compound over time. And not only do they compound, there's also a lasting effect. Even if you stop SEO services, you should have months of results even after stopping. Where if you turn your ads off, you're immediately not going to see really any result. So SEO is one of the few marketing channels where you'll actually have some lasting impact. And you can scale quite a bit depending on the keywords in your industry. So that leads to typically a very high ROI, assuming you're not overpaying for the services or underpaying. That's another mistake I see. Sometimes if you go for the cheapest services, you're better not to do anything or to learn how to do it yourself. If you don't have the budget to invest in a reputable company or consultant, you're better off learning how to do some of this and devoting your time to it until you have the budget to spend. What I typically see is with really cheap SEO services, you basically get no impact. And yes, you're not spending a lot per month, but you're essentially wasting that money anyway. So I would recommend in the beginning, if you don't have the budget to invest in the right provider, learn some of this yourself. It's not that complicated once you know how to do it. It just takes time and resources to do the work required to get results. So it's also important to think about what is happening on the search results today. It used to be just this here, which is the standard organic listings, but now there's quite a bit of features and different things taking place on the search results. And this one and this one and this, so number 1, 3, and 4 are only relevant for local searches. If it's a non-local search, you're typically just going to see the traditional organic and the Google search text ads. So if we do a search here, we'll use self-storage as an example. So we'll do self-storage in White Plains, New York. And this is an example of a local search of a physical business with a physical address where customers travel to that business, and we have the city inside of the keyword. So in this one, I see text ads at the top. Then I see map ads. Very often there could be an ad in this map listing. If I click more places, sometimes I'll see it right here from Google. Other times you have to click more places and you'll see these sponsored results. That's another map ad. Then we have those traditional organic listings, which you'll see here. If we do another feature, let's see if we can get it here, is this here, these AI overviews. This is new and something it'll be interesting to see how this develops, but this may or may not be relevant for your business depending on the types of keywords, but you may see this as the first thing where Google's trying to answer the query with an AI result, and they're citing some of their sources here. So through SEO, you could actually be one of the sources that are cited in this AI overview. And a lot of people are projecting this to be a big source of traffic in the near future. Right now, it's still up in the air on how this is going to develop. But this is a newer feature you may start to notice on your search results. You'll also see things like these people also ask questions that you can rank inside of these. As I click these, you'll see different websites are ranking. So the main thing here is there's a lot of different ways to get visibility on the first page of Google. If you're a local business, my approach is targeting all 5 of these. So you essentially show up ultimately 5 times on the first page, which the more you show up on the first page as a local business, you're subtly reinforcing your brand's authority and trust. Users, when they see you multiple times, are assuming you're the best company in the area. So it's important to look at Google Ads and SEO in tandem. A lot of people look at these in a silo and separate, but I really like to think of how this all cohesively works together. And that can be a big mistake and sometimes can make or break your SEO if you're only doing SEO and you're not running ads. Sometimes that can actually limit your results, particularly in local industries. Now, if you're not local, you're typically just going to see the Google text ads and then your traditional organic listings and then those AI overviews that I just pointed out. So if you are, let's say, a software company, we'll do customer service software. Again, on these kind of search results, we're going to see the Google text ads and then we're going to see organic listings. So there's a little bit less happening on these type of search results. So it's important to identify what are the options to get visibility. Sometimes what you can do is start off heavier on ads and do some SEO work in the background. And then while your SEO picks up, shift some of your budget from the ads to SEO. Sometimes it makes sense to front load the SEO work just to get results faster. It really comes down to your industry and situation. So as far as the process and the step-by-step tactics, so the first thing you're always going to want to do is keyword research. It's really important to understand the keywords that people are searching for that relate to your product or service. But we also want to uncover keywords where somebody maybe is just doing research before they're actually ready to buy what you offer. So we want to kind of target people in all stages of that buyer journey through the search results. And what's nice about SEO is the keywords that they're searching identify where they're at in the buying process. If somebody's typing in, again, dentist near me, they're pretty much ready to find a reputable dentist in their area. If someone is looking up what are dental implants. In that case, they're researching what kind of services they might need, and they may or may not be in the market to buy now. But by targeting both of those keywords, we can get in front of people at different stages in the buyer's journey. So depending on what industry you're in, it's important to identify what those keywords are. Now, one of the ways you can do that is by using a tool like Google Keyword Planner. This is a free tool from Google. And this can work really well. If you just search Google Keyword Planner, you'll get to this site here, and we'll go and load this in. And while that's loading, I'm going to pull up some other tools as well. So we'll also look at paid tools like Ahrefs and SEMrush. Now, with paid tools, it really doesn't matter which one you use. The data is going to be slightly different in all of these. And ultimately, what we're trying to do is just figure out approximately how often keywords are searched and what the keywords are that people are using in your industry. So with that out of the way, I'm going to go back to Keyword Planner. So I'm just going to open that in a new tab here. So for Keyword Planner, typically what you're going to do is use one of these two tools, either discover new keywords or get search volume and forecasts. If you're not sure what people are searching, discover new keywords is the best tool. If you already have an idea of the keywords and you just want to check how many people search for that keyword each month, this is the better tool. But we'll start with discover. So if we are, let's do the example of, let's do dermatologist, and we'll do Las Vegas as a market. You could also enter a URL in to make it more relevant. I'm not going to do that in this case. I'm just going to click this, and we'll start to get a list of different keywords related to that seed keyword I put in here. And this could be a great way to get ideas on potentially what to target. So you could see how often the keyword is searched, the percent change on if more people are searching for this. Competition is for ads, but if you hover over the title here, Google will define what the metric is. And then you have your bid range. If you were to pay for this keyword on ads, you could see the low and the high end of what it's going to cost you. So what I like to do is start typing in different things into this search bar. You could see if I'm a dermatologist, maybe I also want to see specific services and treatments. So you could start entering those in and see what keywords are related. You could even go more broad and go just the main word without the location. And this is going to give you some blog topics and question type keywords. We can already start to see what people are searching for. So there's an article about migraines, affordable, let's scroll down, cost. So what does it cost? And we can start to see the different things people are searching for. So what I typically do is I export all this data out of the tool and I start organizing the keywords and prioritizing them based on what I think is going to drive the most impact. I like to group them by what I'm going to call bottom funnel keywords, which are keywords where we know someone's in the market to buy. If you're local, things like near me in the city indicate that. If you're a software company, the word software or platform or services inside of the keyword is a good way to get that indication. But essentially, you want to look for keywords where you know someone's in the market to buy and they might be evaluating options. Then we want to group the rest of the keywords into more top or mid funnel, which are just going to be questions or keywords that we're going to target with content where someone's not ready to hire you yet or buy your services, but they're in the market and they're at least researching things related to your business. So it's going to be two different strategies that come out of keyword research. If you use a tool like Ahrefs or SEMrush, they each have a keyword tool. So in this case, let's put in, let's do plumber and we'll do Austin, Texas. So again, we could put in any keyword here. And these keyword ideas is where we're going to get some of these related keywords. And again, we could see search volume. These types of tools will give you a difficulty score, which Google Ads won't give you. This difficulty score, essentially the lower the number, it's in theory easier to rank for. If I click on this one here, it'll take me back to this home screen and then I could get another list of keywords. So let's click on this. And then here I could start to see the different things here. So we have this core plumber Austin. Then we have a specific keyword related to emergency. Then we have another one related to 24-hour. So we can start to see some of the ways people are trying to figure out who they're going to hire. We also have commercial, best. So someone trying to research what the best option is. And you could just start to see all the various keywords that people are looking for. So very important to go through this research process. And once you have a list of keywords, then you can start organizing them and figuring out, do you need a new page or post, or do you have an existing page you can optimize? One of the ways I like to determine that are checking your keyword rankings. If you're ranking in the top 3 to 4 pages of Google, that typically means you already have a page on your website that is relevant enough that Google is showing it in the top 4 pages. In that case, I would typically optimize the page you already have. If you're not ranking at all, or you're ranking really poorly, that's a good sign that you need to develop either a new page or a blog post on your website if you want to rank better for that keyword. So very important. Now, once you have your keywords, really what you're going to start to do is, again, optimize existing pages on your website when it makes sense and develop new content. If you're a local-based business, location pages are going to be some of your most critical pages. Those are the pages where you can target the different cities that you're serving customers in. So again, in the example of an electrician in Austin, Texas, you would want to have an Austin, Texas location page if that's one of the markets you're in. If you're in multiple cities, you could have a page for each city, and you could ultimately target those cities on each of those pages. So location pages are going to be very critical. And in terms of optimizing, so this here is going to be some of the main factors to look at when optimizing content. We have this checklist here that goes through a lot of different factors that you can use essentially to optimize any page on your website. We go through things like URLs, title tags, meta descriptions, heading tags, body copy, linking, having media like video on the page, social proof. This is a complete audit you could do on any page on your website that you want to optimize. But at a high level, these are some of the most critical factors. So your title tag and meta description are essentially the copy that shows up in search results. So if we do this search result here and we search for this keyword, what we're going to see if we scroll past the ads, and here we can see an example of an ad showing in the map listing and local service ads as well. This here is my title tag, and then this here is going to be the meta description. It's essentially ad copy. So it's very important to optimize this, and you do want your keyword in there, but you also want to write this in a way that's compelling, that gets people to click on your listing, because your click-through rate here is very important. If more people start clicking on this listing here, that's a good sign to Google that this is a better result than the ones above it. And Google gets that data in real time and then can adjust the rankings and move this listing up. So click-through rate is very important. And after that, you just want to go through your page, make sure it's, again, not over-optimized where you're just stuffing keywords in, but you actually want it to make sense and read well, because ultimately what we're after is conversions and getting leads. We don't want to make a page over-optimized where you can tell that we're just stuffing keywords everywhere, which is an older style of SEO. But if you want this full checklist, just let me know and I'll link to it. And you can go through this and optimize all these different elements of any page on your website. So in terms of local SEO, there's a few factors here. When I think of local SEO, what I'm thinking of is ranking in this map listing here for these city-based keywords. So to rank in this, really what you need to do is focus on a few areas. So you need a Google business profile. Once you have a Google business profile verified, you'll want to fill in all the information in there. And that's going to get you in a good spot. Then you'll want to build citations, which are essentially directory listings. The more of those you have and the more consistent your info, the more Google is going to trust your business and your information and your location. So very important. After that, acquiring reviews is going to be one of the most impactful things. You want to make sure you have at least be on par, but ideally have more reviews than your competitors and have a higher star rating. If I look at the top 3 here, the minimum is 4.7, the maximum is 5. The minimum number of reviews is 149, and the maximum is 365. So if I'm a new electrician in this area, I'm going to have a lot of work to do to close the gap on these reviews. And then local backlinks. So getting other websites to link to you is essentially like they're endorsing you. So getting websites in your local market or industry-focused websites to link to you is going to boost your credibility and the trust that Google has in your website. So these are kind of going to be your core local factors. Now, backlink building also is going to impact non-local brands, and that's where domain authority comes in. So building your domain authority is critical to ranking long-term and ultimately to just make SEO easier. In Google's algorithm leak that came out a few months ago, I'm recording this video right now in July of 2024. In that algorithm leak, Google essentially admitted that they have a metric similar to domain authority. Domain authority is a metric that Moz developed. Every SEO tool basically has their own version of it. But essentially what this is the strength of your website. So the main factor that influences this is the backlinks that you have. So the more backlinks you have from credible websites, the higher your domain authority is and the easier your SEO gets. For small businesses, typically your competitors are probably not doing a good job with backlink building, and this could be one way you really separate yourself from them. If you're in a competitive industry and you have more sophisticated competitors, then you're going to need to close the gap here, and this is going to be a limiting factor, and probably a reason why your SEO may not have worked in the past is because you weren't doing this part correctly or at enough of a volume to make a difference. So in terms of strategies, what I like to do is first download all of the backlinks that my competitors have. And you could do that by using a tool like Ahrefs or SEMrush. If we do this example here, and let's say this is one of my competitors, I'm just going to get their URL and put it into Site Explorer. And you could do this in other tools as well. And then once I get here, I'm going to get rid of this because I want to see, in this case, their entire website. And I can see there's 3,700 websites that link to them. And here they are right here. So I can go through all these websites and start to figure out which of these websites am I not featured on. And that can inform your strategy. Local outreach is essentially just reaching out to local businesses in your area. The key with this is actually forming a genuine partnership or collaboration and not just doing this for link building's sake. If you do this in a way where you're actually doing marketing together and promoting each other, it's a more organic way to do it, and you're going to get benefits outside of just SEO. And that's the way I like to think about broader link building, is doing things that are going to benefit your brand, even if backlinks weren't important. So just from like a brand marketing standpoint, and then the backlinks are a side effect and something that can help on top of it. Now, guest blog posting, this is a tactic that's been around forever. A lot more people are doing this now, but it still can work well when done right. The key is to do this on websites that are either industry relevant or have a very high authority themselves. The reason this works is because you're giving free content to that website that's relevant to their audience in exchange for getting a link back to your website. So again, there's tons of companies pitching this and doing this, so it can be harder to land these opportunities. But if you make your case by showing either your technical knowledge or showing the company's information about your business to show them that you really know what you're talking about and you're going to deliver them something that's going to add a lot of value to their audience, you can still get some links this way. Resource links, what I like to think about this is creating content that people will naturally want to link to. Usually you still have to build some backlinks to this content to jumpstart it, but things like custom data or statistics work really well. Basically, when you have articles with statistics and data, other websites will link to them as they're doing research for their own article. So trying to think about what content can you create to get a large amount of backlinks that would normally be very expensive to build. And then another tactic that I don't have on here is going to blend into more traditional PR. So just getting coverage about your business and brand can have a big impact and boost domain authority just by getting some links from websites that would normally be hard to get featured on. So link building is always going to be one of the more time intensive and resource intensive things, but it's very important to getting SEO to work. So these are just a few tactics that you can utilize. And ultimately, it's important to see where you stand versus competitors. Now for technical SEO, we're not going to go super deep into this, but essentially there's a lot of technical SEO factors. There's really probably a few of them though that are really important. What I found is site speed is important. So Google has Core Web Vitals, which is basically 3 metrics, and they have specific benchmarks for each. So it's important to scan your website. Google has a free tool called Page Speed Insights you can use to check if you're above the benchmarks. Mobile optimization. Most websites are going to be mobile friendly nowadays, but it's important to check. Your website should be responsive. Checking if Google is able to easily index your website. Sometimes there's things like no index tags or different things that get added to your website that prevent Google from indexing it. Sometimes there's deeper technical issues that cause that. So it's important to understand if Google's having issues crawling, or which means visiting your pages, or indexing them, which essentially means adding them to Google to their database. You could use Google Search Console, which is this tool here, to uncover that. This tool will give you a lot of good SEO data. But if I click on pages, I can start to see if there's any issues. So there's 10 pages here that are not indexed, and Google will essentially tell me why. So I have some broken pages. There's a page with a redirect. This page was crawled, but it's not indexed. And if I see over here, I can see the quantity of pages. And if you click into this, you can see the specific pages. So it's important to go through that, making sure your site's secure. And then ultimately with technical SEO, unless you have a massive website, you really just need to crawl your website using any tool like SEMrush, Ahrefs, or Screaming Frog. Identify what might be an issue and just clean those up. And then you shouldn't have to worry about this too much on an ongoing basis. If you have a very large website, then it's going to be a little bit different. You're going to get more of an impact here. But for most small businesses, you're going to be able to do a technical audit, clean up those issues, and then focus on content creation and backlinks. So the final piece that I didn't cover much here is creating content. And again, that's going to be based on that keyword research. It's very important that you have the right content on your website, or it's going to be very difficult to rank. One of the ways you can identify that, if we go back to this search, is when you start typing in the keywords you want to show up for, take a look at the content that's ranking. So in this case, if I click on the top few results here, what I'm going to see is a lot of service pages. So here's a service page. If I go to this one, here's another, which looks like a service page. Then we have Yelp, which is a review site. And then we have another areas or service page. So this is a good indication that I don't need a blog post. What I need to create is an actual service or area page. Now, that's important to understand because that's going to dictate the type of page you need. And you could evaluate if you have that type of page or if you need to develop it. So then if we do, let's do a question kind of like this. So if I enter this question in, again, here we're seeing Google's AI overview, trying to answer this and providing 3 sources. Then we're actually seeing what's called a featured snippet. It almost looks like an ad, but this is actually organic. And I can see this is a blog. So now for this keyword, I'm starting to see actual blog posts. You'll see this is a blog. This one's a blog. So this is a good indication that if I want to rank for this keyword, I need to create a blog post. So it's really important to do this work on each keyword to identify the type of content you need. And then you could go out and figure out, do you already have a piece of content like that you can optimize, or do you need to create something new? And ultimately developing that content really on a monthly basis is going to be one of the core parts of your SEO program. Once you've got some of the basics implemented, building backlinks, doing the digital PR work, and creating content are really going to be your core monthly strategies that you need to do every single month. If you're a local business, there might be some updates to your Google business and some small things you're doing on the local side. But for all websites, content and backlinks are going to be really where your focus goes after the first 1 to 2 months of your SEO campaign. So now that you have a lot of the tactics, understanding how to analyze and track performance are going to be really the most important thing you can learn. So there's a variety of tools you can use. With Google's free tools like Google Analytics 4 and Google Search Console, you can get 99% of the SEO data you're going to need. There's paid tools like Ahrefs and SEMrush and even paid reporting tools, but most small businesses are not going to need those. So just by setting up these 2 tools, you're going to get tons of data that you can use. So really what you're going to want to look at is you're going to want to monitor first your business metrics. So sales, revenue, leads coming from organic search. And you could do that by setting up custom events in Google Analytics. And that's a whole nother topic, but making sure that tracking's in place so you could really understand, is SEO actually driving business metrics, or are your leads and sales coming from advertising or something else? Then after that, looking at traffic from organic search from Google is going to be important as another indicator if you're moving in the right direction. And then after that is when I look at keyword rankings. Many people look at only keyword rankings, but really you want to start with business metrics and then go down the chain into traffic and then into impressions and keyword rankings as another indicator of how things are going. Then really you want to optimize based on that data. So there's really no such thing as a perfect SEO strategy. No matter what you do, you need to acquire data and then react and make adjustments. If you just stick to a checklist or the strategy you made in the first month, you're always going to be limiting your performance because you're not reacting to the data that's coming in. So very important to understand the data and then make adjustments. So then it gets you to the question of, should you hire in-house, do this yourself, or hire an agency or a consultant? And really there's pros and cons to all those methods. What I like to say is, If you don't have the budget to invest in a quality SEO agency or consultant, you should learn how to do it yourself. A lot of times with SEO, if you're a brand new company or you're in a competitive industry, you might not see an ROI for quite a few months. So if you're doing it yourself, you could blend that, not having to pay that cost, and just really that comes down to if you have the time to devote to it. As a small business owner, your time's always going to be limited. So if you don't think you have the time to dedicate to doing the SEO yourself and learning it, your next best bet is going to be hiring someone. Now, hiring an in-house team to do SEO can be challenging if you don't fully understand it yourself and if you don't have processes in place. If you hire someone that you don't know that well and you ask them to make all your processes and make your system, you have no idea what kind of results they're going to bring or if their process and system works. So really, that's going to be a difficulty in hiring in-house. But over the long term, if you can build an in-house team and you can build a good process, that can save you a lot of money and can make things more efficient as you scale. So typically what I like to do is start with an agency or consultant once you have the budget. Let them handle your SEO, and a good agency or consultant will work with you on building an in-house team. One of the things I like to do with my clients is I handle everything for a defined period of time, whether it's 3 months, 6 months, or 12 months. And then along the way, I start figuring out what tasks can be delegated to an in-house team member, and I'll train that team member on how to do it so you can take over some of this work in-house, which can really save you time and money while still getting results and still getting the guidance of someone who's done this for a long time, which that's typically going to be the hard part about in-house. Because in-house, unless you're paying well into the 6-figure range for a salary, you're really not going to get the top SEO talent. You're going to be getting someone more who's starting out and can still get you some results. But with the right guidance, you can amplify that even more. So those are really the things to consider. Do you have the time to do it yourself? If so, that can be a great way to get started. And then you'll also learn along the way, which is going to help you as you go to hire. If you don't, that's when you're going to lean on an SEO agency or a consultant. Typically, in terms of evaluating them, you'll definitely want to check performance. If they can show you specific examples, ask them questions about what are their processes, their team. A lot of times SEO agencies will move you to a junior team member after you get started, and the results start to go down over time because you're not working with that expert. So digging into all that will be really critical. So that's the overview on the things that are going to matter for SEO for a small business. Now, if you'd like to work with me or even discuss what that looks like, I'm offering free SEO game plans and roadmaps, which are basically going to analyze all the different things that you specifically need to do to improve your SEO. I'll review your website and your competitors and put a list together of the most important tactics specifically to your business, completely for free. So even if we don't work together, you'll be able to take that list of tactics and strategies that I put together and either implement it yourself or work with me to help you implement that for you. So if that's interesting to you at all, just click the link in the description here and you can book a time. And we'll set up the meeting and I'll walk you through everything you need to do to start getting results from your SEO campaign.